introduction of myself too. Just to let you guys know, May had asked that I record this. So I'm just going to start recording right now.
Okay, awesome.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
May and Yang are in another meeting, so I think they probably will join us later.
Yeah, that's totally fine. It's not a problem at all. And I don't know if it's just the four of you on your team, but I'm going to record this for them. If there's anyone else who wants to walk through, I know sometimes just going through a recording can be a little bit bland and dry. So I'm happy to do this live again for anyone who needs it also.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so can you guys see what I have up on my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend too much time on slides, but I'll just give you a quick introduction to InVision and what we do in your account support team. So my name is Andrew. I lead EA's account support team here at InVision. So me and I forgot to include his profile on this picture, but you'll be introduced to another guy named Taylor. I don't know if you guys know this, but EA is already working with InVision pretty closely. And what we do is we just help you guys do everything and anything to help you guys get the most out of the tools on the platform with InVision. One really cool thing about InVision is it's not just the tools that we can help you with. There's a ton of stuff that we can help you guys leverage in terms of resources outside of the tools. Those are things like just general design education, helping you guys connect with the design community outside of EA, helping you guys think through different practices and processes within your organization. So a ton of different stuff that we can do. Don't ever be shy. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're really here to help you guys with anything that you need.
Right.
So I don't know how much time you want to spend on this. We don't have to spend a lot, but I was thinking that maybe before we dive in to the demo and overview, it'd be helpful if I could just pick your brain on what you guys think are going to be some of the most helpful, I guess, initiatives at EA when it comes to design, right? And these are just some of the things that we've been hearing from the other teams that we've connected to across EA. So improving the customer experience, faster time to market, visibility and knowledge sharing seems like it's a big one, and creating a culture of design. So are there any major things that you could think of would be helpful to your team at EA? And Dario, I know you're on day 2, so you might not have figured out already, but
no, I mean, I can just talk about my experience in general with InVision, shareability, the ability to work with the team and find ways to have a really smooth workflow. I think that's what really gets me going, especially between a sketch and InVision.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I have gotten an alpha version of Studio, but I haven't really played around with it, and I'm really curious about that too. I don't know if you share anything about what it does. I just saw that the new graph actually has a Studio option, so that would be cool to understand what it does. But that's me, and I will just pass that along to Chen because she probably has more insights in general.
Yeah. Cool, thanks. Yeah, so for me, I think one thing probably is missing here is how to leverage the power of InVision to make it easier to deliver the design document to their team, right? Because the projects we have been working on is really large, and they have a pretty large dev team, and usually involve 20, even 30 dev members, including QA team, UAT team, and also front-end, back-end developments. So it will be, we need to have a very comprehensive design documentation, so we don't have to repeat the same thing again and again.
Sure.
Also, people always come asking us questions for the easy things. So I'm wondering if InVision could have some features to really maybe lift some weight on our side, because we have to add specifications, annotations, and also having a catalog page for all the design content. So I feel there's definitely something InVision can do to make that part easier, so we don't have to spend so much time on organizing all the content and adding those specifications.
Yep, that makes total sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And that's definitely something I can walk you guys through today. So I'll walk you guys through something that we call the InVision Connected Workflow, which is essentially using all of the tools within InVision together to connect your workflow, right? We've also launched a tool called Design System Manager and Studio. Dario, you mentioned that. I haven't even seen that Studio plugin to Sketch yet, so I didn't know it existed.
I just saw the toggle.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know we had that yet. So we're still in early access. I don't know how much time we'll have to cover these two, design system manager and studio, but if we do, we'll definitely go through it really quickly. Before we dive into the demo though, I thought it'd be helpful just to give you guys some background on why we're headed the direction we're going. Again, don't want to kill you with slides, so we'll walk through it really quickly, right? But I think it's something that you guys know. It's something we see all the time. We know that design is really one of the more important things. It sets the top performing companies apart from the ones who lag behind these days, right? Again, you guys are designers. Know you totally already get this, right? One of the things that we hear from a lot of our customers, though, is that all this is happening fairly quickly, right? I mean, I'd say within like the past, let's call it 3 to 5 years. So even though design is becoming so much more important, it's happening so quickly that the industry or the kind of vertical is still facing a ton of new challenges, right? Challenges that the industry just doesn't have a solution for, right? And these are just some of the challenges that we're seeing from a lot of our customers out there. So designing for multiple screen sizes, delivering products to market faster. I think that's everybody, right? Maintaining consistency, communicating with a diverse group of stakeholders. Are these pretty familiar to you guys? Are you guys seeing any of the same challenges over there at EA?
Yeah,
All
definitely.
of the above?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what we found at InVision is that if there's one larger underlying challenge where all these smaller challenges stem from, it's really that the entire product design landscape is just so fragmented right now, right? Not just with the process, but also with the tools. Right? Right now, in order to get a product from concept all the way down to code, you need to jump in and out of a ridiculous amount of tools. We talk to teams all the time who have 10, 15 different tools in their stack, right? And that's just design. If you roll in engineering and product, it just becomes even more complex. And I don't think there's anything bad that you could say about any of these tools on their own. UX Pin is awesome, right? The Adobe Suite, obviously awesome. Zeppelin, I mean, revolutionary tool. They're kind of groundbreaking, right? Yeah, very cool. Yeah, but the reality is all these tools are really just kind of like standalone point solutions, right? So you have to integrate a bunch of these different tools in order to complete your project. And every time you jump out of one tool and into another one, the process just breaks down a little bit, right? And this is the biggest problem that we're solving with InVision, is giving you one place where you can complete all these tasks under one platform. And that way the process is seamless, right? As you move from phase to phase, right? And this is just like one of those main pillars that we help with InVision. We feel that digital transformation, not just with design, but with any area that you're trying to improve, is really at the intersection of practices, people, and platform. Right. So the platform would be all the tools. The practices are the things that you guys are doing there internally. And the people are just really educating your team and building it out. Right. So InVision can help you guys with all three. But we'll focus on today is really the platform, right? Those are the tools. So we'll do that with the demo. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about the people and the practices a bit later too, because there's a ton of stuff that we could do there also to help you out. As far as the platform goes, though, we've got all these standalone tools within InVision today to literally take you through every stage of the product design process. And I don't know if you guys can see this. The font is kind of small, but I'll just name off some of these tools right now. And I don't know if any of these sound familiar. Boards, Freehand, Studio, Dario, you already mentioned that. Design System Manager, Inspect, our project management integrations with Jira and Trello. So I'll walk you through all these tools if you're not familiar with them already.
Sweet.
And the other thing InVision does really well is that it really lowers the barrier to entry for all those other teams like Chen that you mentioned, right? QA, development, product management, or production to get involved in the product design process early. Because we found that 100%, right? If any of those teams are involved early on in the process, it just makes that process so much easier. So we want them to come in early. The cool thing about InVision is that you don't have to be a designer to come in and check out a prototype or even build one out from scratch, right? We talk to developers and even product managers all the time who are working on these prototypes. And you don't have to be an engineer to come in to look at code, right? InVision makes it super easy for any of those teams to come in. So it also makes it easier for you guys to collaborate with those teams. And we'll come back to this in a bit, but helping you guys with your process, just in terms of general design education, We have so many different resources. If this is something that you guys are interested in, definitely let me know. Again, we can always revisit this. As far as the people part of those pillars go, helping you guys connect with the design community outside of EA, this is something that we love doing also. So whether it's you guys as a team at EA, the IT team, or whether it's you guys individually, if you guys want to be involved in more community events, definitely always feel free to let me know. This is, again, something that we can always come back to. So I'll dive into an overview now to give you guys a demo of all those solutions that we talked about. Before I do, though, do you guys have any questions before we start?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, cool. And Chen, I didn't get a chance to ask you, what is your familiarity level with InVision?
Yeah, so we use InVision every day in our project.
Okay, are you using it mainly for prototyping and presenting designs?
Yes, we use it like from the beginning of the project to the end, like showing ideas or creating prototype for user testing and final documentation, review it with the stakeholders, so everything, basically.
Oh, awesome. Okay. And a lot of those tools that I just kind of shouted out in that earlier slide, like boards and freehand, our project management integrations, are you familiar with those already?
Oh, so no, not for those. So
Okay,
I mainly
cool.
use InVision prototyping too.
Okay, awesome. Let's walk through it then. Okay, so what you see right here is your main InVision dashboard. And when you come onto your main InVision dashboard, you're essentially going to see a collection of all of your different projects. And we have three main types of projects on InVision, which I'll show you. The first one is prototype, which is what most people know. The second one is boards, and we also have freehands. You'll see up here that I have the ability to select a view of my projects or org-wide projects.
Yeah.
So these org-wide projects can be set up on many different levels. I think probably in the near future, what's going to happen is you guys are going to see projects from, if we get this set up for you guys, from the EA IT XD team. But we're working on some changes within InVision. We're rolling something out called InVision V7 in just a few months. And if you guys set it up, that's going to allow you to view org-wide projects. So you'd be able to see projects from the team that we're working with most closely right now is BK's team, EAX, and we're also getting some things set up with the Global Communications Group team, some of the other independent studios. And InVision Spaces is going to let you organize all of your projects on a folder level. So that way each organization can have their own folder. You can have folders within folders. It'll be really, really neat, and it'll give you a lot of that visibility that's really helpful.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Their feature.
Yeah, it helps so much. It's one of our most requested features. So I know that the product design process is not linear, right? You're jumping all over the place and it's very cyclical. But what I'll do is walk you through all these different tools within InVision in a more linear process. And I think that'll just give you a better idea of how some of the other teams that we're working with are using these tools in different stages of their process. So most of the teams that we talk to, I'm guessing that you guys are the same. They start their product design process and the ideation phase, right? I mean, I think that's pretty common. And a lot of that is really just kind of collaborating with other people and starting to think through exactly what you want your product or project to look like, right? And one of the ways that we help companies do that is with a product called boards. So boards are essentially a digital whiteboard a digital canvas where you could just start to drag and drop in any assets that you want. And you could do strategy boards, you could do mood boards. A lot of teams are using something called real-time boards for this. I'll show you an example of something that we did for Uber, which is just an app redesign that we were helping them think through. So in this kind of like strategy board, what they've done is they've just dragged in screenshots from social media or even text that they could just add in and edit of different feedback that they're getting from social media of what people don't like about the app right now. I'll just zoom about a bit. You can scroll down also. They've also included, as you can see, their project goals, previous solutions of what their app looks like. This is built a long time ago, so you could see the Uber app used to look way different here. Inspiration for different apps or different different looks and feels that they want their new app to look like. And they built out this customer journey. You can also use this as a repository for different kind of file types. So fonts, assets, colors, documents, you can really add into anything. And it's so easy to add content in here. You literally just have to drag and drop any images or pictures. Oops. Sorry for a little bit of the lag. I'll just add in the EA logo right here. So you just drag and drop any pictures you want. Makes it super easy. Now, when you've added any content on the board, I always think it's a good idea to begin collaborating with any of the other teams that you're working with here, right? Or even within the design team. And even within boards, as with any of the tools within InVision, you could start dropping comments. So what you could do is you can also tag or mention people in these comments. And I'm just going to mention my one of my colleagues right here. Is this the latest logo that's approved? Once I post this comment, if it's a comment without a notification or a tag, then it's just going to drop this comment right here. Because I've mentioned my colleague James, he's actually going to get an email notification, or if he's connected to the mobile app, he's going to get a notification on the app that he has an outstanding task right here.
Okay, so a quick question here. Does this require the person you send a message to have like an InVision account?
It depends how you guys have it set up. So you guys have the ability to choose whether or not they need an InVision account.
Oh, okay. So it's not enforced, right? Because for like PMs and dev team, they don't necessarily have the InVision account right now, because that would be additional cost for that team, right? So,
yeah, and that's a great point. So a lot of the things that I'm showing you are included in something called InVision Enterprise.
mm-hmm.
So I'll be sure to call out the differences between what you guys have set up right now and InVision Enterprise. Okay. That is something, though, that I believe May is looking at getting set up for you guys.
Okay.
Which is the reason why we want to show you guys this demo and overview today.
Okay. So you said that everything is drag and drop. How are you dragging and dropping colors, or is there a way to actually select specific content to upload?
Yeah, that's a great question. So why don't I just go into this image right here? Let's choose a different image, something a little bit more obvious. Let's do this one right here. It's got some greens. So when you click into any image, InVision is going to automatically extract the main colors from that image and turn them into color swatches. So I'm just going to click add right here. To any of these images. Okay. And you'll see all these images have been added. You'll see the hex code and the color swatch all right here.
So you have to upload an image with the color that you want.
Right, that's correct.
Okay. If I had a hex code, is there any way to just initiate a box with color?
That's I don't know the answer.
I keep seeing this blast symbol, and I wanted you to press it at some point, and you haven't. Like if you go up to the top, I see like there's a UI element that is like floating with a blast symbol. I just wanted to see if that will give me an option to like upload a specific. No, go up on the page. See that little blast symbol on the.
Oh right. Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, you just add in the hex value.
There you go. Okay.
Perfect. Even I learn this stuff every day.
That's what it would do, but like I wasn't sure. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right. So once you have all these boards, like what kind of elements can I actually reutilize on my prototypes, or is this just kind of sort of living independently as a living canvas? But I'm just trying to see like if the effort to create these boards, then something can be salvaged when I'm actually creating a prototype or starting to design my UI. Can I download this tool, or does it just specifically live in?
So everything in the board would live in this environment only.
Okay.
So again, this is separate from prototyping and something else I'll show you called freehand. But it really just acts as like again, a repository for all of your files. But you can use this in a lot of different ways. And I'll show you something probably a little bit more akin to what you guys are doing day to day, which is more like a mood board.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And this becomes just like a central place to get inspiration and a look and feel for what your app looks like. Okay. But yes, it doesn't convert or export into a prototype.
Okay. Well, I was mostly concerned about like if I'm selecting colors and doing that, like would that eventually just show up on my graph library or something along those lines? But maybe I'm thinking too far out.
No, a lot of this stuff will be integrated a bit more tightly when we launch InVision V7.
Okay.
And we do also have something called Design System Manager, which integrates this way more tightly also. So color swatches, images, any of these elements.
So there is an advantage on investing on this particular tool over, say, a Pinterest board.
Yeah, I would say it's a bit more fragmented today. Yeah. But the integration is going to become tighter. Okay. And probably, I think it's coming around Q4 or so.
Okay, cool.
But I think the advantage is also just having everything in one platform. Right. Everyone who's part of the InVision Enterprise account can easily just come in and they can see where you have your board. They can see where you have your freehand, which I'm going to show you, and your prototype. Right. So even just having the visibility and being able to access all that knowledge in one place makes things way easier. And one thing that you can do, and this does make things a little bit easier, is use this open text editing section in boards to drop in links to your Jira page, your Confluence page, Google Drive, different assets that you have are freehand. So this is all stuff that you can add into. And I'll show you some tighter integrations with these platforms in a bit also. Cool. So this is boards. Usually what happens after this stage is a product design team may want to move a little bit further along in the process, right, and get a little bit more concrete with their ideas, right? Put some pen to paper, and I don't know if you guys are doing wireframing over there still. Some teams are, some teams aren't, but the way that we can help you guys do that is with a tool that we call Freehand. And Freehand is essentially a simple sketching tool or a digital whiteboarding tool, which allows you to quickly mock up wireframes just to get an initial idea of what your design is going to look like. Are you guys doing wireframing over there?
That's for you, Shen. I haven't been through this process yet.
Yeah. So for my side, since we are using, for my current project, we are using the out-of-box design library from Salesforce. So we are now doing like wireframe, right? Because we are just using their patterns, which is like, yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. That's actually very efficient. I'll show you some cool features with Freehand. Even though you guys aren't wireframing, it still may be very helpful. If you guys do want to create simple sketches, one of the most powerful features in Freehand is just the ability to recognize shapes.
Oh, that's
so it makes it very, very easy. If you're on a Mac, you just hold down the Option key, but you could literally draw out a wireframe in like seconds.
This is nice. Right. Did you mention that there's an InVision app now for mobile?
Yes, there is.
Is this feature available there? Because I'm just thinking my iPad Pro and my pencil.
Yeah, totally. So you can draw on a freehand with an iPad or a tablet.
Okay. That's
nice. Web-based though.
Okay.
Not through the app. So you would just have to go to open up a web browser and you would drop in the freehand link. Cool, and then you'd be able to sketch.
Yeah, that will still work with a pen, with the pencil.
Totally, yeah, yeah. The other really powerful feature about Freehand is the ability to do collaborative whiteboarding, which is awesome. So I'm going to send something over here in chat. If you guys don't have to click in, but if you can, you'll get a sense of how this works. So I just share this link with you. If you see it, you'll see it pop up in your Zoom chat window. Again, you don't have to come in, but oh, Daro, you're already in. Okay, cool. So you can come in here and we could start doing collaborative whiteboarding together. And this is amazing, right? And exactly, yeah.
So wait, that didn't recognize the shape.
Oh, you have to hold down the Option key if you're on a Mac.
Okay. How do I undo?
You could just hit Control Z. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it worked. Perfect.
Yeah.
No,
And this becomes a really quick and easy way, not just to sketch up collaboratively, right?
this is pretty
But Chen, if you're already starting to collaborate with devs, right, or production, this becomes a really easy way for them to take your sketches and for them to identify and drop in live feedback, right? So let's say maybe this has to be larger. It just makes it really easy to start annotating live. I'm not that familiar with the Salesforce platform, so I don't know all the tools within it. But right now, this is something that's honestly pretty difficult, right, with the tools that are available today. If you have a design and you want to say, let's make this search icon or the EA logo bigger, it's really difficult to identify it, right? Most teams have to either download or print out a PDF. They've got to manually mark it up. They've got to email it back to dev or product, whoever it is, marketing, right? Marketing's got to annotate, mark it up, and send it back. So there's just a lot of back and forth. With Freehand, we allow you to do everything on this one platform, which just makes it really easy for everyone to be on the same page. And the cool thing about these freehands is all these annotations and markups that we have on the page are all saved, right? So when we exit this freehand session, everything's going to be saved. So when you come back into this freehand, you'll know exactly what those annotations and markups are. And this is a wireframe, but people are using freehand for a lot of different things, like user flows. We have engineering teams using them for engineering diagrams. So a lot of different stuff. Definitely feel free to be creative.
That's cool. Can I not edit what other person has done?
Can you not? Yeah, you can. You can come in here and you should be able to click on my freehand.
I can click on it, but like when I try to move, nothing happens. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I have a quick question. So since the use case, Andrew, you mentioned, like when we're doing the QA work for the dev team, right? When we want to call out a lot of like discrepancies between the design and what development have defined, like do we have like a way to handle different pages, right? Because we have different kind of features we want to call out, and we don't want to put everything in one page. So in freehand, is there like a structural like folders hierarchy to handle that, so we don't have to put everything in one page?
No. So not within InVision today. Within InVision today, everything's a bit jumbled up, right? I mean, you have just this one dashboard page I showed you earlier that houses all of your projects. But with V7, which is again launching hopefully in Q3, most likely Q4, we're going to have folder organization. So you would be able to create individual freehands for all of your pages and then drop it into a folder.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Organized.
Is that the spaces piece that you were talking about?
Yeah, that is. Hey, May,
Okay.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So would you say that this is the best way to make annotations on a more polished design as well, or is it just for this ideation sort of a stage? So let's say that I have already like some more polished high definition wireframe and I want it to run it by the dev team for them to make annotations. Would you recommend this, or would you recommend just the standard prototyping comment tool?
I think it's a great idea to use both, depending on how you're trying to get feedback. If you're trying to identify different areas that are specific to a page and you guys are, let's say, maybe working across distance, maybe one team is in Austin, the other team is in Redwood City, or maybe offshore somewhere, this is a really easy way for everyone to be looking at the same thing at the same time. We also have tools within InVision where you can identify different areas where a project needs work or refinement just through comments, which I'll show you also. So it really depends on what your workflows are.
Well, I can see that you already dropped up an image there, so from an interface, so you could actually scribble on top of it.
Yeah, and this is the other thing I want to show you with freehand. You have the ability to drop in any kind of images that you want.
Yeah.
So even if you have a built-out, again, artboard, web page, web portal, whatever it is, you can drop that image in here and you can begin, again, annotating live.
Cool.
Okay, so May, you didn't really miss much. We really just started to get into boards, which are almost kind of like a digital pin board, very similar to real-time boards. And now we just finished talking about freehand.
So I guess I'm curious about boards just really quick. Can you do like sticky notes? Have they like evolved a little bit to be more of an interactive, even remote workshopping tool?
Yeah, you can't leave sticky notes, but we actually do have a product request out for that. I'm sorry, feature request, but you can leave comments.
Okay, so it's still more like displaying than it is interaction with like a large group.
Exactly, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
You are able to leave comments in a specific place, though.
Right.
So I'll just give you an example. And one of the things I was talking about, May, is just like within all the tools within InVision, you do have the ability to tag or mention people. And once you do that, they'll get a notification.
Right.
So not as flexible, I think, as sticky notes, which is what a lot of people are looking for. But it does have the ability to call the attention to a specific place. Okay. Any other questions about freehand?
No.
Okay. So just moving along that linear product design process, if you guys have a better sense of what you want your product to start looking like, then you're probably moving on to a design drawing tool, right? Like Sketch or Photoshop. And I'm sorry, I can't remember. What are you guys using over there?
We use Sketch.
Okay, cool. So if you guys are using Sketch, then I'm guessing you guys probably have the craft integrations installed already. I won't go through them all, since I'm guessing you're pretty familiar with them. But the most powerful one is probably Craft Sync. So May, you had asked about InVision Sync versus Craft Sync. So I already have a request out to my support team, and I think they're working on some things with InVision V7 that may help us out there. Sorry, my mouse just turned off. Cool. So I'll just go through all these really quickly. Again, it seems like you guys are pretty familiar with them. Craft Sync allows you to sync any of your designs on Sketch directly onto what we call InVision Cloud or InVisionApp.com. And once you're on InVisionApp.com, you're gold, right? I mean, you've got your project in the cloud. You're able to share with other people. Other teams can come and collaborate. So it just makes it really easy to share that project out. What you'll see right here is if you've updated, I don't think you guys have installed Design System Manager yet. That's something that I can get you guys set up with. If you guys have that installed, then you'll see a plugin in Sketch and also in Studio once we launch Studio, where you can also bring in all of your design elements. Whether or not you guys are going to implement DSM, I think, is a much larger and probably longer conversation. So I don't know if you guys are going to take full advantage of this yet, but if you do, you'll basically have the ability to add, drag and drop any of the components inside your library directly into your design files.
So, okay. So it's not like, because I know that you can sync a library. Does this manager sync my library automatically? So if I've made a change to something, this badge, and I update it in this system, does it update in all of my Sketch files that are using Craft? Okay.
Yeah, it will. And I probably don't have enough time to show you.
Yeah, that's fine. And I guess I just want to add, like, the question is, does it maintain parity? And then also, can you have more than one design system inside of the manager?
Yes, you can have multiple design systems.
Okay.
And yes, it will keep the entire team up to date with any changes to the library.
Okay.
And it will pull any of those changes that you make to your library across all of your team's designs. So that's an important distinction too. It'll pull those changes. You guys will have the ability to pull those changes. It doesn't push those changes.
Have you seen any issues or heard any complaints from teams like having that kind of push-pull thing and having to maintain kind of a master? because one of the things that I know that I've run into before with syncing and sharing design systems is you want to make sure that there is a kind of source of truth. This is what the design system is as V2, and we're working on V1, but what everybody's designs that are being pushed out should be using this one version.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so we actually invested a lot inside essentially control and versioning within DSM. We found that with a lot of the tools on the market, that was one of the things that was lacking a lot, is that when a team is building out a design system, I think, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easily managed when you're building out like V1 design system, right? I think when you get to that point, everything's always all good. But once you do multiple versions, that's when a lot of design systems break down. So yes, we do support very, very deep version control within DSM.
Okay.
Essentially what happens is you start with version 1. Anytime you begin making a change, an approved collaborator begins making a change, then they basically start working in what we call a shared draft. And once that shared draft is approved, they'll have the ability to publish that as an official approved version of the library. Okay, you still keep the old versions also.
Okay, so you can go back in time.
Totally, yeah.
So does it work in the same way as Git with a pull request?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar how it works with Git, but essentially the way you would pull changes within DSM, and I can show you, how much time do you guys have today?
And the next 30 minutes or until 11:30.
11:30.
Okay.
For me, if you guys want to keep going, if you guys have time, that's fine, but I have to drop it.
Yeah, me too.
30.
Okay, I think this is, again, probably a much longer conversation, but I can show you really quickly what this looks like.
And even if you have if there are documentations on the help site that you could point us to for some of these questions.
Yeah, we don't have the best documentation on it yet. And I'll say that right now, DSM is still in early access.
Okay.
But if anything, maybe I could record something for you too and show it to you, or we could set up a separate time. So I'll show you really quick. I'm going to just take any of these. I'll take, let's say, this element right here. I'm going to make a change to it. I'm going to change let's say these little pill icons to, I'll choose an approved color. So let's do something quite obvious. I'll change it to orange, right? Now, what I would do is go back into the same section where that component lives, and I'll go into my design library file. First of all, you'll see that I have many different versions of my library, right? So you'll be able to access versions across your team. Hopefully, if we get there soon, versions across all of EA. And you'll see right now I'm working in a shared draft, right? So once I've made any changes to this, I'm going to, first of all, add those changes to the library. Oh, I am. Okay, so you want to go into the same section where that component lives first. Sorry, keep on clicking on the wrong layer here. Okay. Now DSM works off naming conventions. So it's going to recognize that I'm uploading a component that has the same name as an existing component. I can create a new component, or I can just replace that existing component. So in this example, I'm just going to choose to replace it. And you'll see right here, this is going to change to orange. Okay, so super tiny. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that same component is going to change to orange. Now, what I do is I'm working on a shared draft. I'm going to release this new version. Let's call it v1.2 EA. You can add any description that you want. Orange. I'm going to create this new version. Once this version is created, I'm going to get a notification. Everyone who's working on this design system or who has this access or is in InVisionApp.com across your team is going to get this notification that they have a new system set up. So they'll be able to see what's new. I want to show you what that looks like. It's pretty simple. It's just like a visual diff file, or they could switch to the new version. Right now, if I switch to the new version, then now if I have any designs open where this same exact component lives, now that I'm working off my new version, I'm going to be able to sync my design to this new version of Design System Manager. So it's going to say, are you sure? And if I've done this correctly, then all these components are going to change from the yellow that we had before to orange. There we go.
Awesome.
You'll also have a web monument site that's generated automatically and is updated in real time as soon as you guys update your library, which allows any of your non-designers to access DSM, whether it's engineers or whether it's stakeholders, marketing, whoever it is. We have some light design tokens right now that can integrate with engineering too. Light meaning right now we're only supporting, I think, like fonts, patterns, and one more, I believe. But what you could do is you can also add in code into Design System Manager just through code snippets in these descriptions. Let me see where I have one. Sorry. And they can just come in here and grab snippets of code. Let me do it through my actual DSM instance. It'll make it a bit easier to see. So you can add in code snippets, you can add in links to GitHub, external URLs, whatever it is. It's basically all of your design components in one place. So this is a pretty deep system to get familiar with. So I'll set you guys up with a separate demo for this, May.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you got it. All right. So going back to Craft, let's show you really quickly some other things that you could do. One thing that's really helpful is I showed you guys freehand before. You guys can also upload any of your actual comps and artboards directly into freehand too. So Chen, I don't know if this is more in the lines of what you had asked about earlier, but you could see, actually, let me go back. When I upload this into freehand, I'll have the ability to select all artboards or just one single artboard. So if I want, I could just choose one artboard, upload into freehand, and then I open my browser, and now I have my fully built out comps and artboards all into freehand. And again, you can annotate live.
Yeah, I think that's what I asked. Yeah. And then are those components live too? So can I select individual things, or do they become just a flat image?
This is a flat image.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Now I showed you what. Give me 1 second. Sorry for the lag. You know what? I'm going to turn my camera off really quick to help with the lag a bit. Okay, so I showed you how we upload this onto InVisionApp.com. Guessing you guys are probably already familiar with how to do that. Pretty basic feature. Once you have your project on InVisionApp.com, though, I'll show you guys how you can begin collaborating on that project with different teams, just where InVision really becomes powerful. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm jumping around pretty quickly here. Okay, so once you have your project uploaded to the cloud, you'll be able to share it with other folks. They can click through prototypes, they can see all the screens, and you can begin to leave comments. again, this is what most teams are familiar with. So do you guys need a walkthrough of creating hotspots or how to click through prototypes? Okay.
No.
What I will show you is some of the commenting features. Again, pretty basic stuff. Most people know how to use comments. A lot of people aren't familiar with the different types of comments that you can leave though, which I find is always really, really cool. So you can leave your basic comments. And again, you could tag people on here. Could be whatever it is, but you can also leave what we call private comments, which is just for you. You can leave notes, formerly known as developer notes, which is only between you and the developer. And you can leave my favorite, which is Tor points. So Tor points will give anyone that you share this with a walkthrough of this entire app. And it draws much more attention to these comments because they're shown as blinking blue beacons. So
yeah. How will look for the previewer side?
Yeah, I'll show this to you right here. So you share this link with any of your collaborators, stakeholders, whoever it is. They're going to open up that same share link that I just copied and pasted. And they will see your standard comments, but you'll also see these Tor points show up as these blinking blue beacons. Can you see this on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this draws their attention to anything that they have to see.
So is there a way to only show those blue comments, not the pink comments?
I think the tour point doesn't show up in a preview mode. Or I'm sorry, the comments don't show up in preview mode, only the tour points do.
Okay, so by default,
Yeah.
only the tour point. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so comments wouldn't show up. Is that
Until
correct,
I
Andrew?
Yeah.
toggle?
Because you have to toggle to comment to a
Yeah, well, you can turn commenting on or off within Tor
Right.
mode, so you'll have different options to change that.
So these blue dots kind of sort of replace those blue areas that will show up before that kind of showed
The hotspot?
where to click. Yeah, like the hotspots that will kind of sort of guide users if they didn't know where to click, or are those in addition to those blue?
It's in addition to the hotspots.
Okay. And I think hotspots can also be deactivated.
Yeah,
so
well, hotspots are always there, but we call those hotspot hints.
Oh, okay.
So if you click on the screen and you don't click on the hotspot, it'll let you know where a hotspot is.
Right. Okay. Got it. I see it.
So you could see these comments and they come up, and as I click next, it's going to walk me through all these different Tor points I've created, and it can go across screens also. So
Okay.
it can literally walk a user through the entire user flow of an app.
Nice.
That's great.
That's
That's
nice for
really
collaboration,
cool
especially if
feature.
there's not someone guiding the project.
Yeah, and I think the beauty about InVision is, again, having everything under one platform. So if you guys are collaborating with devs, right, or with production, then they can see what you guys are doing as early as boards, right? They can collaborate with you guys on freehand, and they can walk through the prototype before you hand off to development. Because I think these days, the handoff from design to development, it's not really so black and white anymore, right? They've got to see all that context behind why a button is in a certain place, right? Why the padding is like this, right? Why this logo is going to be this size or this color, whatever it is. So sending a developer and having the ability to take them through all the user flow like this, if you guys aren't in the same room together, is super helpful. And once they're here in the project, then you can also easily hand off with what we call inspect. And inspect is basically our version of Zeppelin.
Okay. Is this like redlining then?
Yeah, so red lines, specs.
For inspect, the engineer developers, they need to have a license for that, right?
They do, yes.
Okay.
It is going to be like part of the enterprise plan, like we were talking about earlier.
Yes, it is.
So if we get on the enterprise plan, then everyone in EA will have access to this.
Yeah, and I think May can probably speak a bit more to this. But I think that's the goal across EA, right? Is to eventually get everyone set up so you guys can all collaborate on the same platform.
Yeah, I think that's something we're still trying to suss out. So.
Yeah. But the teams who are getting the most out of InVision, yeah, they've got their developers on InVision, they've got their designers on InVision, and that way, again, their developers can easily come in, they can grab these specs. I don't know if any of you guys code, but you can also just grab snippets of code. This is super useful for the developers. We have all different types of code too, so we support Swift, Less.
That was going to be my question.
Cool. Not just CSS.
Yeah, the only one that we do get requests for that we don't support right now today is HTML, which is coming soon.
As far as accessibility is concerned, from a load time perspective, have you tested like the code that's generated by the system?
You mean, are you just saying like how good our code is?
Yeah, I was trying to say it nicer.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. That's a great question. I think it's pretty much on par with Zeppelin.
Okay.
Is what we hear, which is still at the end of the day, I don't think the ideal solution, depending on how you work. Some teams want us to generate code for them and they're happy using that. Other teams want to integrate their own code, which is totally fine too. We don't have a way for you guys to use your own code within InVision today, but that is coming soon with DSM.
Yeah, because I think my concern would be, since our systems are so large, having developers go to this system as a source of code, if we have kind of these pieces that are already predefined that can just be added to, versus having 4 lines of CSS, it could just be one. That would be my concern.
Yeah, let me write that down. That's something we could definitely explore further.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned, May, that was a big deal with you guys with
yeah, because whenever you take into account the size of the systems that we work with, and eventually the CSS files would get to thousands and thousands of lines, that affects our load times.
Totally. Yeah. There's like redundant code in there and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Avoiding any of that where it's like custom CSS for every single component isn't terribly useful at this scale.
Yeah, okay.
Unless there's like a thing that somebody's just like a developer's just stuck on and like, I can't figure out how to make this thing, then it's really useful. And I think Sketch does that too. But yeah, I think that would be the concern.
Yeah, and also for a lot of the teams, I think just like eliminating redundant code is really helpful. And for that, I think a lot of organizations have found just having a design system alone is super helpful. But you guys, I think, are already past that. You guys have tried that, and you guys are still finding some friction points. So let's explore that further. And maybe I can even set up a call with someone from our engineering or product team, and they could probably talk on a level that I'm not even familiar with. I'm not that familiar with like the technical aspects.
Sure.
Okay, so we've got like 3 minutes left. I just really want to blow through some cool features that are useful. And if any of you guys can stay longer, we could touch on it in more detail. But before you drop, I'll just show you guys what all this stuff looks like. So you can also import all of your assets. All this stuff uploads automatically through Sketch. My connection is a little bit laggy. A lot of these are broken. It'll take a while to upload. Once I uploaded that file into Sketch, you have access to all your assets too. These can be downloaded individually, or they can be downloaded in batches, right, for all the project. So you have access to all the images that you have right here. You can also, on a project level, look into the Assets tab also, and you'll have a collection of all your images. This also acts as like a file sharing system too. So I've already updated the PowerPoint that I shared with you earlier. You can drop in a sketch file if you want. You can drop in different images. So I'm guessing you guys probably already use like Dropbox or Box or file sharing system, something like that. But it just makes it super helpful to have everything in one place.
So can you explain why would I access the assets from that particular system and not from the design system tool?
Yeah, so the design system tool has all of the assets that you've uploaded into your design system. The assets tab on the actual prototype will have all the assets from your sketch file.
Okay.
Which may not always match what you have in your design system. I mean, I think if you guys are functioning like as, you know, sorry, that's my dog. In unison, everybody's like working on the same page. You have your design system fully updated. Then yeah, everything would be the same. But it's not always the same. And it just gives you multiple places where you can work. So the comments will also list out all the comments that you have. It's almost kind of like a project management or like a task management window. List out all the changes and activity. Workflow is kind of like a Jira or Trello type feature where you can move swim lanes. What's your project management tool today? Is it Jira?
Jira, yeah.
Okay, cool. And we also have a Jira integration.
Is that for Jira Cloud?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have the cloud version of Jira.
Oh, it also supports the, can't remember what the non-cloud version is called.
Yeah, I don't, just regular.
Yeah, Jira regular. But yeah, we support both versions.
Sure, Atlassian would love that slogan.
And it's a pretty simple plugin. You just install the plugin and it'll give you the ability to drop in an InVision share link directly into Jira. You can easily get a preview. You can drop in comments. You can access inspect. So everything's all on one page.
Cool.
It's taken a while to load. The last thing I'll show you is, do you guys use Slack over there?
Yes.
Okay, so we also have a Slack integration.
Is there a way to customize the notifications that come from InVision? Because the last time I had an InVision integration into Slack, it got really annoying.
Yeah. Slack overload is a real thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, you can.
And if it's an app, I know those act as a direct message, so there's no way to mute. I don't know if there's any option for it to become like part of a channel or something. That would be nice.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll show you what this looks like. And again,
I have to drop. I have to drop right now for another meeting. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye, Chen.
Bye.
So again, very sorry for the lag. As this is pulling up, I'll show you what the integration looks like. Okay. So this is Slack integration. Essentially what happens is any updates that you make to the app, you'll see I've changed some things around, will automatically be dropped into the Slack channel. When you set up the integration, it's going to give you the ability to choose which notifications you want pushed to Slack.
Okay, so it pushes to a channel.
Yes.
Well, this says that it's an app too. So is this actually pushing to you as a DM for all of these notifications as well?
No, this is just dropping directly into this channel and that's it.
Okay.
So let's click into here and I'll show you what the customization features look like. So you can change when you get notified. You could check on or off comments, conversations, screen status, collaborators added, share views, whatever you want. And this will be different from anyone who wants to integrate. So different people can set up different types of notifications.
Cool. So can I select a particular group that I want notifications from? Rather than, especially like an enterprise, I wouldn't want notifications from every single design team that works at EA?
Yeah, so you would be able to set up these integrations, or I'm sorry, these Slack notifications by project, by prototype.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'd have to do it every time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You would also have, if you wanted to, you also have this notification center within InVision, which also lets you keep track of all of your outstanding tasks across one project or across all of them.
Cool. Okay, so I have to drop too, but
No problem.
If you guys want to keep going, I know we didn't get to studio yet, so
yeah, let's maybe connect later on this week, May, and we could set up some more time. I think those will be a little bit quicker. We could probably cover studio in a 30-minute call. We could do DSM in another 30-minute call if we move pretty quickly also.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, May.
Yeah.
Dario.
Yang.
Yang.
Sorry, I'm late for this meeting.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was really quick. We can go deeper in this stuff, but did you guys have any more questions?
I think since I'm late for this meeting, I will spend some time to review the recording. Maybe if I have any more questions, we can follow up in the next meeting that you will be scheduling.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, well, yeah, let's drop there. I'll send you guys an email just to recap. I'll send you this recording also. But I know like through the end, we moved through a lot of this stuff really quickly. But I think a lot of the stuff that we covered at the end in terms of project management and getting everyone on the same page and connecting like all these different tools together is at the same time kind of like the most important feature of InVision is the ability to use it as like this large project management tool. So again, if you guys want to revisit that or go into that in more detail, just let me know.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. It's great meeting you guys.
Thanks, Andrew.
You got it. Bye.
Bye.
Huh?